Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Runs and Acceleration. And this special episode is for the IPL auction that goes down on the 19th. So, we are quite excited about this one because
Hmm.
there's been some big changes leading up to it, primarily involving our favorite team, Mumbai Indians, with
Yep.
Hardik Pandya making a homecoming,
Yep.
but now as captain, and
Yeah.
Cameron Green being shifted to RCB. However, there's been a lot of fire with this trade, especially
Hmm.
with Rohit being taken off captaincy. Although I think
Yep.
he was informed by the management, but I think it's
Yep.
left a sour taste with people burning jerseys and even players such as Surya Kumar Yadav sharing a broken heart and his wife saying something about yeah, people will see how you treat others, and other players commenting about
Yeah.
loyalty. Akash, what is your take on this? The whole way this has gone down,
Okay.
like one of the
I'm gonna be
biggest
honest. I
trades.
think it's a little bit overblown. I think the one thing is I think Rohit has really. This sounds kind of tough to say, but I think Rohit is looking at his age right now. Has been the greatest. Is the greatest Mumbai Indian that has ever played the game, and that's not saying. I don't. Sachin was one player for us, but Rohit Sharma is Mumbai Indians. There's no one that defines the spirit
Exactly.
even better than him.
Exactly.
And it is tough work winning 5 times. That is no easy thing. There are so good teams. I like IPL is basically you're putting your best Indian players and then you put some of the best foreign players. It's basically all-star teams going up against each other. So that's why it's so tough to be winning. And they
Exactly.
found some incredible combinations in the past. I always say that the Mumbai Indians team from 2020 was just unplayable. That bubble team was too good. So
That
I
was next level.
I know, right? Everything was covered on that team. And the one thing with this Rohit Hardik thing, I think it's personally that you look at a team. I compare us to CSK always because that is the point of comparison. You look at the CSK approach. Dhoni sticking on. They tried playing Jadeja as captain. Horrible,
Didn't
did not
work.
work out. Um, it could happen. It could happen. Hardik might not work out, but the thing is, it doesn't look good when, in my opinion, the future Indian captain is not going to be your captain on the team. So, and I think that with Rohit after this World Cup and everything, I think it's like more or less it's this point where he's starting to step back more and more. But
Yeah.
it is sad. It is really sad to see like him not being the captain. But
Especially the timing, right?
yeah, I think it was poor timing, honestly. Bad press. It was a bad time to release it and stuff. But I think it's the necessary move. I think we got to do it if we want to have more of a future. And I think this I want to say because I think we're still in the rebuild kind of phase. I think and now with this auction, which we'll kind of get into a little bit more, but yeah, it is sad. It is pretty depressing to see this, but I don't know how did you take it really when you first heard about it?
I I I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it was done because just the day before it was Rohit. I think Rohit has a team of his own called Team Row 45, something like that.
Okay.
And they put an Instagram video of his first conversation since the World Cup final. And it was very emotional.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And the next day Mumbai announced that Hardik is taking over as captain. And even the way the deadline thing happened, that the trade deadline closed, Hardik was retained, announced as retained, and then it was kind of a last minute deal, and we kind
Yep.
of shoved off Cameron Green. And that's another reason I think it's bad press because Cameron Green just came out with his chronic kidney disease. And I
Yep.
really feel
Hmm.
for him, for a guy who's stage two, and he takes care of himself and is able to play the way he does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, it's not a far-fetched thing for people to say, oh, did they drop him because they got to know of his condition? I'm
Yep.
sure they knew beforehand, and I'm sure that wasn't the case, but it's just the way
Yep.
everything is coming off. It's just been a very bad press moment, and I think they messed up.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. Yeah.
but moving more on to the auction now, we have made one good trade, which is Romario Shepherd. He's been paying
Mhm.
some dividends recently in the England series.
Yep. I think Shepard's going to be a good player for us. I think he will have some interesting stuff to bring because he is a seriously good power hitter. He's seriously good. Whatever you give him on his
Which
bowling or
West
anything,
Indian isn't?
yeah, I think he'll be if I definitely think he's still a backup for Tim David. He's
Yeah.
still a backup for Tim David, or unless they want to bank him more as a on the bowling side of things and not bat him down to maybe an eight, and a little bit lower down the order. Uh, might be some interesting moves, but especially for Mumbai, and their batting is set for the most part. So that's
Yep.
why I think I think that. But you know, with let's forget about Mumbai now. Let's talk about our pre-auction. Who
Mm-hmm.
are some guys we think are going to go big? All right, we'll start. Well, let's start with straight away with it. Bowlers are going to go for the most record prices this year. I think that's
Yes.
almost five teams need fast bowlers. Like seriously are in
Including
desperate need of,
us.
yeah,
Including
including
us
us.
in Mumbai.
So five teams need fast bowlers. Okay, we
I don't know. Will
who we think
Cummins
is going
go
to get
for
the
more
highest
or
one?
Stark?
I think Stark. I think Stark.
Yep. Right
I
up
think Stark.
front. Bowl him 3 overs in the power play with a new
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. I
And
think
if he
Stark.
goes to a team with the
Yeah.
like Mumbai or Bangalore where there's pace in the wicket,
hmm Look, I think Cummins is a great tactician, and when it comes, okay, him as a white ball bowler and a test bowler are, in my opinion, two very different things. As a white ball bowler, he's more of the very tactical minded,
correct.
and but the issue is he's not incredibly consistent. That's the truth. He's not a consistent as white ball, and he doesn't have that same level of. Batters are not as scared of him in the white ball compared to in the red ball because when he's bowling in test matches, it's literally like it's like a horror movie out there. Sometimes he's that good right now. So I think Stark is still your bank of getting that big contract. But the thing is, the issue with Stark is he he's played in the IPL, he's played in the BBL. I don't know. I just feel that it's been like very up and down performances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He needs to go to a team that's going to like honestly just take care of him. Like that's and build an environment surrounded around him. And I think that's what one team and stuff like that. And really honestly, I don't think like a team like Mumbai should go for a start because I think
No.
it's too much. I think we already have a frontline man in Bumrah or something, and it's going to be a tough thing. I think that I would personally more or less go for Stark. But is there any other bowlers that you were thinking about that kind of maybe a little
Mm,
bit underrated? Are quote unquote dark horses?
yeah. Some spinners, especially I know they're overseas, but I would say someone like Ish Sodhi or Keshav Maharaj.
Yep.
Sodhi got missed out in the World Cup. I think he's quite decent on Indian pitches.
Yep.
Also Keshav Maharaj actually is a pretty handy bowler to have.
hmm
The reason I say that is because all the main Afghanistan bowlers are already contracted to other teams. So your
Yes.
wrist spinners are gone. So you're really looking at, and we'll have some Indian spinners coming as well. But
hmm
if I'm looking at who are the main spinners, then probably Keshav Maharaj. Oh,
Keshav
Lockie
Bharat.
Ferguson is available, I think, because
Yeah.
KKR basically fired their bowling squad. But
I mean, KKR. We'll get into before after. I think what we're gonna be
after
doing
the
is
auction, we'll do like
after the
each
auction,
team,
we'll do
right?
a team
Yeah.
by team analysis and kind of like go through it. But no, I think another person that we forgot to mention was Shardul.
Mm,
I still think he can give you something. With the bat, with the ball. Honestly, a very decent fielder also. So that's why. I still think that there is something for him and there's a place for him. I don't see him having the greatest year, and I also don't see him. I know actually I will take this out. I do see him actually fetching a pretty big contract because when you get a fast bowler that's Indian, that's a massive commodity for a lot of teams, so they don't have to waste an overseas spot.
yep.
Um, and I think that will be something super important. But I think a lot of the teams that are looking for a bowler have an overseas spot available, and
Exactly.
that's the placement. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where he goes. Honestly, Chardlow. I don't want to see him go. I want to see him. I actually really want to see him go to like a very new team and get a new environment. Maybe he might get like a new kind of spirit. I feel like because I don't. I'm kind of seeing a little bit of lackluster from him in his performances. Yeah.
And that brings me to, kind of from Shardul, we kind of talk about all-rounders.
Yeah.
Who do you think will go for the bigger prize? They're both lefties, huh? Lefty batsmen, and one of them who doesn't have many fans in India, I'm guessing. Um, Travis Head and Ben Stokes.
Ugh, I mean, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. This Travis Head played too good of an innings in the World Cup. Played is on another level right now.
Yeah, every
And
format, right?
every format. And I think the smartest idea the Australian cricket team has ever made is boosting him up to the top of the order. It
Correct.
is a genius idea. It's so good because you just give him the license, and honestly, that's honestly what the intention was. But now he's a very, very, very thoughtful cricketer. He
Yes, he
plays
is.
very good. He's searching for the gaps. He goes for the big hits also. He knows how to read the conditions. He takes his time when needed. And he can go. He's such a like a versatile cricketer that I think like any team, if he steps into, he's going to be great. And he's had
And he
now
spins, huh?
he spins also. He gives you another bowling option, and he's pretty decent actually. Also for being someone who's opening the batting as a spinner, he can also give you some good overs. Speaking about kind of top all rounder spinners, Ravindra, another
Oh,
person.
yeah.
He's
But can
also
his
going to be
batting adjust to the T20 format, do you think?
yeah.
Because he's very orthodox.
He is very orthodox. But I still think that a lot of it's worth the punt on him because he's young. He's has proven results on Indian pitches. I think it's worth the gamble. But the issue is this is where the issue with guys like Travis Head and honestly all of the main guys, especially someone like even like Mitchell Stark, a lot of
Mm.
them are either coming back to IPL, playing IPL for the first time, and there's
Yes,
been too many instances of when the money comes in, the performance dips
goes
massively.
down.
I
Sam
saw this with
Curran.
Sam Curran, Pat Cummins with in KKR. Just not consistent enough, and because of all of their great stuff in international cricket, IPL is a different beast. It's a completely different
Correct.
thing, and it's a completely different thing when it comes to the fan bases, where you're playing. It doesn't make sense if you have like the most touted fast bowler playing on like Chennai pitches or something like that. For example, they're not going to be getting the most out of the wicket in that sense.
Exactly.
Um, so that's why I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. I really don't. I think, but I still think that Travis Head will be the most sought after batsman in my opinion. Yeah,
So, okay, so to end on this, right?
yeah.
Who do you think will be the highest bid? Like who will get the biggest contract overall?
Ooh.
We
Biggest
almost forgot
conch.
Darren Mitchell.
We forgot Daryl Mitchell, and also we forgot Gerald Coetzee. That is
Okay.
that is an incredibly underrated pick. Who I think whoever picks him up, I think it's going to make is going to have a seriously nice bowler on their team. So
Mm-hmm.
because we also picked Coetzee in our World Cup 11.
World
So
Cup 11.
yeah, so he's proven himself. He's a top quality bowler. So excited to see him. I'm honestly excited to see a lot of the stars of the World Cup and can they be stars in the IPL. But my pick is gonna go to Mitchell Stark. I think he's gonna get
I
the
was
biggest.
gonna say, I was gonna say,
Yeah, yeah. I think
because
Mitchell Stark. I don't see a batsman getting that the levels of
yeah,
a bowler is gonna get just because I think there's enough for the team. I mean, every team needs something like that, and there's some team that need
correct.
batsmen, but the competition for them is going to be much scarce um bowlers. So who are
And
you going with? Oh,
I
sorry.
think
Sorry,
Mitchell
say no,
Stark.
no, go.
No. You were right. So I just want to end on this, which is I'd say Mitchell Stark as well, and for the very simple reason. And Pat Cummins, I think, will actually come quite close as well.
Yep.
The reason I
Yep.
say this is because this World Cup has proven that batsmen can win you games, but it's bowlers who'll win you tournaments.
Yep.
That's what happened in
Hmm.
the final. Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, they did the damage even after the initial onslaught. And just, fielding, obviously that day was a day of fielding from Australia. But I
Hmm.
think what we've seen is once the bowling unit starts to click right in any tournament, then the
Yep.
batsmen automatically get the confidence that they can go out there and score big because they know there's bowlers there to either defend it or they know if the bowlers have kept the other team down to a good score.
Yep. Yep. And I also think a lot of the teams you actually mentioned Daryl Mitchell also has the potential to go pretty big because there's not a lot of um I'd say power hitters in
Yes,
this in the draft, right? Or like in the auction, sorry. In the auction right now. So that's why I think if you want him to bat at like a five, where I still think honestly he can play. I think you can honestly Gerald Mitchell's one of those players. I think you can fit him anywhere after you can play him at three,
correct.
4, 5, or 6. And I think that's really good for teams that they kind of have that person who can kind of float around. And if they need to have a stabilizer person, and also, Daryl Mitchell is actually really underrated when it comes to stabilizing innings. He can
Correct.
really stabilize. He can almost put the offense back onto the team. So that's why. And that's going to be. I think he might also go for a pretty big price. But I'm expecting Stark to just absolutely run away with this.
All right, then. On that note, guys, we've reached the end of this episode. We'll be back soon with the analysis of the auction as well as the teams heading into this big IPL season, before the next mega IPL auction.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. This
this is going to
already
be a,
feels like a pretty big one, honestly.
oh,
So
yeah, this
the
is
next one is just going to be even crazier. So I'm excited,
absolutely.
honestly. I think the IPL. It's good to try and change things up, and it'll be good to kind of see where some of the stars, especially with the World Cup now, see whether some stars can translate into the IPL. So
Yep.
let's see. All right, okay, we'll see you guys. Bye.